Lisa, you're back. How was your trip?
It was good. It was good. I had it was muted. I'm sorry, Aaron, in the beginning. It was good, very tiring and very exhausting watching children overseas.
Did your husband go too?
He did. His health held up really well, so that was good.
That's
How was
good.
your trip to Alaska?
It was wonderful. It was so beautiful. It's just, we were talking about it today. We went through a place where there was like a whole flock of bald eagles. Like we have vultures, they have bald eagles. And it's just, it's just hard to fathom.
Wow. What
But
a
it was
unique
beautiful.
trip.
Yeah, it was good. Really good. And my iPad worked most of the time. So that was good. I got to do Blackboard through iPad, so that's a new app for me. That worked well. And here we are at the end of our road.
Thankfully.
Oh, you don't want to stay with me just a little bit longer? I know Angelique does.
I'm sorry. I just got on. What'd you say?
Oh, I was just talking about how you sure you're ready for this to be over? Don't you want to just hang on with me a few more weeks?
I would love to hang with you, just not doing all that work. Woo!
Did you hear from Kannapolis?
No, not yet.
Okay, I did get your reference form in.
Okay.
I did get one.
Wonderful. That was for administrative because I had to go back because I had.
No, it didn't say what it was for.
Okay. Because
they just have a standard form, and then the human resources director that I know is on vacation. So
is that Kim?
Kim.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty then.
So I'll try. Kim used to be at UNC Charlotte, but she does a great job at Kannapolis.
Okay. Wonderful.
But I'll shoot her an email and see if I can find out anything.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
How you doing, Lisa? You back?
I'm back. I'm trying to recuperate from children that I'm crazy to overseas. What was I thinking?
You mean they
had
didn't?
a heat wave too, right?
No, we left just in time.
Okay.
I guess it was 109 in Paris on Tuesday, and we left on Monday.
And they don't have air conditioning anywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you mean the kids didn't act differently in a new place?
Here's my quick little summary. I carried 4 boys and 1 girl, and I thought, oh, the boys are going to be problems. I'm going to have some issues with boys. They were wonderful. They listened. I had one little couple issues. I sent some text messages to some mamas, and boys changed. Girl with me, and I believe she's on the spectrum because of everything I went through. It took 4 chaperones to keep up with her. She was just one child.
Wow.
Yeah. It was interesting. I will never do it again.
You live and learn.
That's right.
But at least you got away from the everyday stuff. Everyday summer stuff.
It was interesting, maybe not so. I took my principal as one of my chaperones.
Oh, wow.
That was an interesting mix to do that, because she wasn't the principal, and so she would ask me how I was going to handle things, and I thought, gosh, this is an odd situation. So that was kind of unique. I guess I was grateful that I had this preparation to think about things, but yeah, that was an interesting twist too. So
yeah. Well, we got a new principal at my school coming up in a few weeks.
That's always interesting.
Yeah, it's our first time too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember talking to you about it.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I'm not familiar with your school. Where is it?
It's in Gastonia.
I know it's Gastonia. I'm real familiar with Gastonia, just not
Chapel Grove
Yeah.
Elementary.
I don't know where that is.
Mm-hmm.
My first job was at Gaston Day School.
Okay. Okay. Gaston Day. I'm trying to see if I don't think it's near there. Is that by the airport?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not near there.
Yes.
It's off exit 14.
And I actually started at, yeah, I know that area too. I actually started at Gaston College when I went to college. So
Okay.
I lived like between, it was like where I lived, and then Mount Holly,
Mm-hmm.
Belmont, and Gastonia. Hang on one second. This is Dr. Whitaker. Hello? I'm looking for you. I have no idea, but they're with me. I tell you what, I went to the link on Zoom, the Zoom meeting for 10. That's how I got in. But you want me to email this to you? Okay. 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 Bye. Okay.
Okay.
Heavens, now I've lost you. There you are. All right, for some reason, Dr. Whitaker's link didn't work, so she's going to retry. Clarence, seeing you reminds me, not only do I think your mom is a hero, by the way, but I wanted to tell all of you, or remind all of you, that final reflection that you did, that is a specific survey document. I just emailed it to everybody again. And you were supposed to send a copy of that to Dr. Lamb. So you submitted a copy for me, and that's how you got your grade. But you were also supposed to send a copy to Dr. Lamb. So I just wanted to make sure that you had done that.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Dr. Whitaker.
I'm sorry, I had a last-minute phone call that came through, and then I joined the meeting, and nobody was there, so I knew I was in the wrong place. Good to see everybody. Okay, so we got a few people with us. Yep, good. All right, so are you ready to start presentations?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I'm not sure which group is presenting tonight. I didn't copy it down. Do you need me to go look?
No, I haven't. Yeah. So actually, it's group 6 and group 7. And group 6 is a group from my class, is Eleanor, Kira, Sharon, and Carrie. Are all of you present?
We are.
Okay. So why don't we start with group 6, and then we'll just move to group 7.
Perfect.
Okay. I was going to share my screen and show. We decided, since it was the last class, that we would do presentation a little different. So
That's all good. We like creative.
Yes, we do.
and get rid of all the stuff on my screen. All right.
So good. That was great. Anything you want to add to that, or we're good?
That's up to you. We can if you want us to.
No, I think it's fine. You know, that really hit on all of the last things that we've been talking about, you know, the load of the leadership and balancing that. And I'm going to share a couple of comments with you about that in a little bit. But that is it, being the instructional, you got to be it all, but there's no way that you can do it all. Even if you have been, and I used to tell people this, I thought I was the most organized person ever. But, you know, once you start moving in that leadership to an AP and then to a principal and so forth, or maybe even at the central office, it's just too much. You cannot do it all. And so you have to let go, and that's really hard for an organized person to do. And but you have to learn to do that. But just remember, it still lies on your shoulders. So, you know, setting those expectations and then delegating that and figuring out how to recharge yourself. And I'm going to share a couple of other things with you tonight about making that balance. So, but good job with that. That was really great. I've seen the Powtoon. Yeah, I've seen the Powtoon in a couple of schools. Some things that they've done, and that's really good. I mean, it's a great way to end it too. Yeah, we're not going to keep you guys a long time tonight because we know this is kind of the end and you're all done. And, you know, so we do have the very last presentation, which would be group 7. So are all of those people there, Dr. Z, or not? Let's see.
You're muted, Dr. Z.
Okay, we're here.
And your other person is one that was out on medical leave, correct?
Well, we were just told that she couldn't participate, and another one of our classmates wasn't able to finish right now. So it was just myself and Clarence for tonight.
Okay.
So what happened with Keisha? She's not here?
When we reached out, we were just told she wasn't able to participate.
Okay. All right. Let's carry on.
All right. So I'll share my screen.
Yeah.
All right. And okay, so this is myself and Clarence. We got together and put this together, dealing with case study 3. So we looked at the first question: how important is the management stuff in relation to the need for instructional leadership? And we believe that the routines and procedures are necessary for the school, and you need that for management stuff. So that's very important. And you need that to have time to focus on being an instructional leader. Because if you don't have those management things, the school becomes out of alignment, and it makes it difficult for management or instructional leadership. And then you're kind of dead in the water on both. And to kind of stay with that and make sure your management stuff stays good, you delegate your roles so that your staff can help organize and supervise a program such as the graduations, assemblies, and other celebrations, all the things that Mary loved to do, but now the superintendent is telling her she needs to go in a different direction. So that they don't slack, the delegation will make sure that those things get done. So that was how we answered question 1. Question 2, how can administrators organize their day to serve as chief learners? I think you have to establish the focus of your learning and your administrative duties ahead of time. Then you can construct a schedule that will allow you to focus your attention on being a chief leader and management. And I think it's very important to build in some cushion time as administrator, just in case things don't go as planned. You have time for that, or you may have time to take a sip of water, even use the bathroom, or if you need to just talk to somebody, you can meet with them on a personal level and let them know you care about them more than just as a teacher. And then when you're serving as a chief leader, you must plan to do those daily things to help you get to those instructional leadership things. And by planning those, then hopefully it will become a habit and allow you to work a little more fluently, I guess you could say. And so now Clarence is going to take question 3 and question 4.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, first, well, question 3 is like, what roles do teachers and central staff play in the paradigm shift? Well, first, teachers must buy in and execute whatever the administration is want to put out there for the school year. But first, I mean, in order for the students to be successful, and also the teachers to follow, because that's also it's like it's like if you can't really teach it or you can't execute our administrators' beliefs if the teachers don't buy in it to it. So it's very important that you get your teachers to buy into the system and what you want to do, what the goals that you want to establish for your school. Teachers must also adjust curriculum and structure and of class structure. So what that means is every child learns differently. So what may work for Johnny may not work for Mary or Sam. So basically, you'll make sure that you try to incorporate different teachers' learning and teaching strategies that will allow them to help to focus more on learning better. The central office must provide resources like funding and professional development. I mean, even so, like, you never can stop learning, no matter how many degrees or anything that you may attain, because life is always like a good teacher. So you must allow yourself to learn more opportunities for professional development for teachers to learn new things, because times changes very quick and we try to adapt with the times. And also funding is very important with the school, especially with the part with budgeting the funds of the school that can allow to get more like sports equipment, school books, equipment, such and for. So, and also to find someone that was very good at managing the funds so they can be allocated so when those times come. And also help out with the management stuff in school. This can be done by creating several different committees and having teachers to sign up for them. I mean, because if the teachers are very valuable about just being helping the school and the community, you can utilize their strengths other than just for them just teaching in the classroom. And we go to let's see, question 4. Okay, maintaining balance. Well, how do administrators maintain balance to avoid occupational hazards? Let's be honest, it's when teaching, or basically even teachers, it's tough to maintain that balance, because even if you have a family, it's like there's certain hours that you got to stay in the school, and then and then after that you just have to cut it off and okay, let me go ahead and divide that time with my family, with my wife, kids, and so forth. A couple of bullets that can probably help with that is scheduling and prioritizing. That's very key to maintaining a life balance. Like I mentioned earlier, set clear boundaries between life and work. That's very key, because basically it's your health, because there's no purpose if you trying to do your best, but if your health is not at 100%, and time to to balance proper exercise, eating and sleep and stuff, so you can be fresh and refocused. Which brings us to outside life keeps you fresh and focused. I mean, extracurricular activities, working out, going to the gym, or so forth. And teachers just need to work smarter, not harder. Basically, to find what works for your school, your teachers, and students, and develop it and create a plan. Collaboration is very key, but it's also very vital. To make your life easy as you endure like a 180 day. Well, administrators are probably definitely a lot, but just to maintain those days. And we're off to what number? Last one. That's it.
All right, and that's it. We just wanted to make sure those are what we kind of got from it during our conversations, and so we hope that we were able to touch on something that wasn't thought of before, and that we were able to present something that was thought-provoking. So thank you for your time.
Good job.
Well presented.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that you two had to row the boat alone. I didn't realize that earlier. I would have tried to divide it up a little differently. So thank you for stepping up taking care of that.
Good
Good
work.
job.
Good for them. Good work.
Yeah, very good. We appreciate that. So, absolutely, you know, you presented that well. A lot of the, you know, everybody has responded to those questions individually. So, I appreciate you all presenting that. And I kind of wish we hadn't have left this off to the very last class, but anyway, that's how things worked out. But one of the things that, you know, it's kind of like I work a lot with global education, and sometimes it's hard for people to see how that works in with what you're already doing. I say that it is how you do business, not something extra that you're trying to put on the plate. And so the same thing with all of the things that you have to do as a leader of a school. You have to manage the school, and you have to have good management in the school. Your reputation and that school's reputation rest on how well it's managed. So that's a big thing. And the instructional leadership is a big thing. So you can't throw one out for the other. You've got to find a way to fit it all together. And so a lot of your suggestions about doing the delegation and, you know, kind of setting expectations and, you know, getting those people in, building that culture that those people are in your fold, that they're going to do things like you want them done. Especially when you become a principal and you are building your little team with your assistant principals. I hope that all of you have the opportunity to work in a school with a team where you're all felt like you're equal. In my school, we felt like that. I trusted my assistant principals because they kept me in the loop, but they knew how I wanted things done, and they executed things in that way. So there was a lot of trust and collaboration, and, you know, but they could do things, and, you know, I didn't have to point everything out to them that they needed to do, nor did I have to just stay right behind everything that they did. So I hope, you know, that you have an opportunity to work as an assistant principal in a school with a team like that, because it certainly will help you to continue to grow, rather than being with a principal who is very much a micromanaging kind of principal that, you know, will not give you that power kind of thing, or where you might not feel as trusted. But there's all kinds of situations out there. So you learn from whatever kind of situation you're in. You either learn how you want to do it, or how you don't want to do it, okay? Depending on the leaders that you're following. So just continue to learn from that, and continue to go through that. So Dr. Z, you want me to go ahead and share my little pieces on balance?
Sure.
Okay. So I have a couple of things, you know, that is a really big thing. And all of you individually wrote some things about, you know, going to the gym and just doing various things for finding that balance and recharging yourself. Well, all of that looks really good on paper, and sometimes it's clearly in your head, but there will be days that just won't work, okay? And you have to be able to say, okay, today was just a bad day, or today, you know, the whole world fell apart, and so tomorrow I'm going to go back to my schedule. Don't let that defeat you, but be aware that there will be days like that. So as I was thinking about this over the last couple of weeks, as people were writing, you know, their responses, and, you know, we were coming up to this last case study, I came across a couple of things that I wanted to share. And I remember a couple of weeks ago when I shared the tweet from Dr. Kafali, who had the information there about the dress code kind of stuff. Well, he really is a great person to follow on Twitter, because he's a very thought-provoking leader, and is kind of on the edge of trends and so forth. And he's written several books, and he's writing a new book that's supposed to be completed sometime late this fall, about everything assistant principals need to know. So you could kind of be looking for that, and you might find some good things. But one of the things that, and I think this may actually be in that book, but the question was, how will I manage the reality that work is never completed? And that is a reality. And there were many days that I just wanted to stay there at my desk until it was all done, so I could leave and have a clean desk. Oh, excuse me. So that I could leave and have a clean desk and a fresh start the next day. Well, that never happens. So just know that from the very beginning that that's not going to happen, okay? But here's what was written about that. It says, once you are in your leadership role, you will have to come to grips with the fact that your work will never be completed. There will never be a day in your career when you can sit back and say, I have nothing to do. As a principal, there will always be work to be done. You must simply accept the fact that the work never ends. This means that you will need to develop a mindset that since the work doesn't end and will be waiting for you tomorrow, you will end your day at a reasonable hour so that you will be able to maintain balance in your life and pick up where you left off when you return to your building. Refrain from developing the habits I had of working 12 to 14-hour days and then putting in another 14 hours on weekends. Know when to stop and enjoy life away from your leadership. That will also help you to avoid school leadership burnout. So that is very, very good advice. And then a couple of days after that, I was reading my morning devotion. And it also spoke to that balance. So just a little bit different. It's not just, school balance, but the title of it is His Perspective, thinking of God's perspective and not yours. So it says, even if you are the world's most thoughtful person, you may from time to time lose perspective. It happens on those days when life seems out of balance and the pressures of life seem overwhelming. What's needed is a fresh perspective, a restored sense of balance, and God. If a temporary loss of perspective has left you worried, exhausted, or both, it's time to readjust your thought patterns. Negative thought patterns are habit forming, and thankfully, so are positive patterns. With practice, you can form the habit of focusing on God's priorities and your possibilities. When you do, you'll spend less time fretting about your challenges and more time praising God for His gifts. So today and every day hereafter, pray for a sense of balance and perspective. And remember, your thoughts are intensely powerful things. So handle them with care. So I'd like to leave you with that advice and hope that you, hope that you can really not just see it on paper or on a PowerPoint, but that you can really put it in practice.
Excellent.
Yay.
Those are excellent words. And I didn't do that. And I wish I had. I would have probably lasted a lot longer if I had. But it is hard. I think my biggest thing was I had a to-do list for today, and I kept thinking I was going to finish that list. And once I finally just had a universal to-do list, if I could just check one thing off, I was happy. And I made sure that I put some very small things on there so that I could send an email or a thank you, so that I could at least check one thing off my to-do list before I went home. But I do think that if you could get in that habit of not tying yourself down to a list a day, it's very frustrating because I think it's very important that your door is open as much as possible, and that when the staff has a minute and they pass by your door and they say, do you have a minute? And you want to say, no, I really don't. And they want to come in and sit down and talk about something that is important to them, that you're free to stop and listen. Because that's one of the things I wanted to remind you of, is that relationships and valuing your staff, I cannot stress that enough. Pray them into your building and then pray for them once you get them there, and develop a relationship with them and care for them, and they will care for the students. You just give your staff, treat your staff with the most respect and consideration that you expect them to have for your students, and you'll have a great great place to work. A couple of other parting tips I wanted to remind you about is, first of all, let data guide you. It's very hard to get into an argument or to have staff feeling defeated, like you're not listening to their ideas, if you're focusing on data and research. So if they're coming up with the greatest new thing that they want to start doing, then you say, show me the data. It's just that simple. If they could show me the research, if you can prove to me that is in the best interest of the students, then I'm going to try it. Why would I not? So convince me by those two things, showing data and what's in the best interest of the students. If you focus on those two things, you're great. And then as far as personnel issues go and having those hard conversations, the best question or sentence, a statement I ever learned to make was this: I need you to explain to me why you thought that was a good idea. So when somebody posts something inappropriate on Facebook, I need you to explain to me why you thought that posting that was a good idea. Saying something offhanded to a parent, or getting into a social situation that's inappropriate, or touching a student, grabbing a student in the hall, or yelling at some. I just need you to explain to me why you thought that was a good idea. If you come into school and you're unprepared and your lesson plans don't match what you're teaching, your objectives don't match what you're teaching. I do walkthroughs 4 days in a row and you're off task every time. So just explain it to me. And when you can start a conversation like that, then you're the listener. And then you can take what they give you. And you know what? Quite frankly, and I bet Dr. Whitaker will agree with this, a lot of times there is a long pause, and then it's, I can't explain it. It wasn't a good idea. I can't explain to you why it was a good idea, because it wasn't a good idea. It ended poorly. I've learned from it, but it wasn't a good idea. I shouldn't have done that. And that just saves you a whole lot of reprimand. And that direct language that we were talking about in that behavior thing, just about all of you said that was going to be the hard one for you. Just sit back and say, I need you to explain to me why. And that kind of puts it back into that more of the cooperative language than the direct.
Right.
So that's all I have for you. It has been a great semester. It's been fast. Y'all have done a wonderful job. I have so enjoyed it. And I hope that you'll all stay in touch with us.
Yeah. Good luck to you in, whatever the fall brings. And if you don't land that job that you're looking for in the fall, just keep looking out for jobs and searching for those and applying for them, and interview, get all that experience that you can, and learn from each situation. And if you ever need anything from us, references or that type of thing, from us, from Gardner Webb, we're happy to help you with that, and hope that you will, hope that you'll get just what you're looking for. So,
final questions from any of you?
I do have a final question I want to ask, pertaining to something, and everybody may not even want to hear it, but one of my colleagues is, she's a rep for one of the new curriculum based math things we're implementing here in my county, and the parents are right now kind of staging a war because they don't like that resource. And so she posted something on her Twitter page about, it was only in the second day of school, about how well her kids did that day with the actual resource. And so this parent organization group posted on her Twitter page, almost like free advertisement, like, don't support MVP or something like that. And so she was going to block them. And I told her that, at first my initial thought was I didn't think she should block them, because I didn't think she wanted to get into that kind of a, you know what I'm saying? Like, issue with that parent, but she felt like, you know, she didn't want that to be on her page because her parents might not have knowledge of it and, you know, get on the bandwagon or whatever. And I was just wondering, like, you know, and I understood her side too, like blocking them so that they don't basically free advertise on her page or keep posting negative stuff every time she posts something, because it wasn't about the resource that she posted. It was more about how her kids were collaborating. So it wasn't really about the actual resource because they haven't even actually officially started working in the books. It was more about her kids collaborating in the class and getting acclimated on the second day of school. And I was just wondering you guys' thoughts on that.
I always say keep your friends close and your enemies closer. You know, I kind of go with that. Thing. I'm not afraid of criticism, but it kind of, you know, depends on how far it goes, is how far and how hostile the negativity is.
Oh, they're very hostile.
Yeah, so, you know, that would play into it too, but I certainly wouldn't block it before I got advice from an admin. Do you think, Dr. Whitaker?
Yeah, I was just going to say that might need your communications person at your central office might need to be in the loop with that, because if it really goes south, it's going to be in the newspapers and all of that kind of stuff, and everybody involved is going to be wrapped up in that. And so while, you know, you just don't want to you don't want to really get into it, and maybe not responding to that parent or that group, that, you know, if they never get any, they're probably looking for a response. That's why they posted, you know, their response on there. So I think, but I understand, you know, where she's coming from. She doesn't want that negative stuff on her page and everything. But before I got really deep in that, I would check with the communications officer in your school district, because
yeah, I advised her to totally not respond. I was like, no matter what, don't respond.
right.
But, you know, my thoughts to her was I wouldn't block them because it could be seen negative in a way, like, you know, but like I said, I understood her side too. But
yeah.
We had a question.
Yeah.
About Saturday.
Yes, you got it.
11:30 at the student center is it's about 11:30. What happens is we go to graduation first. We, meaning the professors and the full-time getting their full masters, and they go through walk and graduation, and that's at 10 or 10:30, 10 o'clock.
10.
And so we hope to be back at Tucker Center ready to have a reception with you by 11:30. It's very informal. They do have a nice certificate for you that's very similar to the diplomas, looks a lot like the diplomas. It will be, they usually have sandwiches and heavy hors d'oeuvres, chance for you to meet the different professors that'll be standing around, take pictures, that sort of thing. Last about probably an hour, you think?
About an hour.
Yeah.
And there is, I don't know how clear, you might just pull up the map of the campus. It's kind of at the back, at the very back of the campus, when you're coming into the main entrance there. But you might just pull up that map of the campus, and that would help direct you, you know, how to get there. There's a lot of parking right in front of the Tucker Center, so you won't have any problem with that. And so you can just park there and go right into that to that building. But it's so there's some athletic fields over to the left side, and the Tucker is kind of like the last building that you're going to come to back there. So shouldn't be a problem. But it is very nice, and we hope that a lot of you will go. I have to tell you that I'm not going to be able to make it to this graduation. We've had a little bump in the road at my house. My husband has had a cancer diagnosis this summer, so you know, it's a pretty far trip for me, about 3.5 hours, and So I'm just not going to be able to make it. But anyway, it is a very nice time for you to be able to meet a lot of the professors that you had and to get your certificate. And if you absolutely can't go, I believe those certificates are just mailed to you, following the reception. So, but anyway, I will continue to pray for all of you too, and hope you have a great, fall, starting back to school, and keep looking for that. The right job will fall in your lap. Let me tell you, the right one will come, even if it's not the first or second or third that you're trying for. The right one will come.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for the prayers. Appreciate that.
And I can't stress enough, not just to pray people into your building, but pray you into the right building, in the right position, the position that you're ready for. Jeremiah 29:11-13 is mine. That's my go-to. And keep that in front of you. And it'll come, and you will know it. And you're ready.
Yeah.
That's the one thing we hear over and over and over again from our graduates and from those who employ our graduates, and that is that they come out prepared. So we believe you're ready. And don't forget what Dr. Lamb said in the interview meeting. This is so important. You don't have weaknesses. You just have areas that you have not experienced. Okay, so just because it's something, you don't know that that's going to be a weakness. It's just something you haven't experienced. So remember that when you go in your interview, that don't present things as a weakness, but just present it as, well, I think, I feel like I could handle this fine, but I've never had any experience. So, okay.
All right. Have a great evening, and take care.
All right. Take care, everybody. It's been great.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Z, do you have the recording?
You know what? I did not.
It's recording right now. So
Oh, let's see where it is. Yeah, it is. You're right.